The palace were closed, and only one room was lit. It was Princess Luna's room. Luna sat bent over her table. In front of her, inside a crystal bowl, were a few shimmering drops. Some even seemed to tremble like ice. She touched them lightly with her finger, then breathed softly upon them. Whenever Luna's tears fell to the ground, smoke would rise, for her tears were like poison. Even a single drop could burn the grass and leave a dark scar on the floor. That's why she had forgotten how to laugh or cry. But one lonely night, she made a decision. I will create a friend, one who won't fear me or run away. She gathered all the water, her own tears, and sat beneath the lamp. Mixing a little wax with her tears, she poured it into a crystal mold. Her hands moved swiftly. When she was done, she placed the mold on the table and went to bed. The next morning, Luna rushed to see it first thing. Inside the mold was a tiny, beautiful doll, just like her, made of wax. Before the video continues, we request you to subscribe to our channel. Thank you! And if you like the story, don't forget to like and share. Luna quickly lifted the doll out but sighed sadly. If only you were alive, she whispered, maybe my heart wouldn't feel so heavy. Just then, a fresh tear rolled down her cheek and fell directly on the doll's chest. The drop shimmered, and the doll trembled slightly, as if air was escaping from within. Then, suddenly, the doll's lips moved. I'm here, it said. Luna froze. She pulled her hand back in shock, but the doll was smiling. One evening, while it rained outside and the palace lamps began to flicker out, Luna saw the doll walking toward her. For the first time, it was moving on its own, its tiny feet leaving faint prints on the marble floor. You can walk? Luna whispered in awe. The doll bowed its head. I am made from your tears, Luna. When you cry, I live. When you laugh, I become lifeless wax again. The lamp's flame flickered in Luna's trembling hand, but she gently picked up the doll and placed it on her lap. The doll's shadow stretched across the palace wall, a human shadow. Days passed. Luna was no longer alone. The doll talked with her, played with her, brushed her hair, and together they smiled into the mirror. Sometimes, they sat on the floor sewing tiny dresses, one for Luna, one for the doll. Sometimes, Luna read stories aloud, and the doll seemed to feel every word. At night, when the moonlight streamed through the window, Luna would tuck the doll beside her. We've talked so much today, she'd say. Now sleep, my little friend. And it would seem as if the doll's eyelids closed too. Luna often wondered, is this doll real, or just a dream? Some mornings, she'd find a sweet fragrance of flowers on the doll's clothes, as if it had been to a garden at night. Sometimes, its hands sparkled faintly, like it had touched another world. One day, troubled by her thoughts, Luna asked softly, were you always a part of me? The doll raised its head gently. At first, I was only wax. Then your tears softened me. And now, your sorrows have given me breath. Luna's eyes filled with wonder and tenderness. But if you are my loneliness, she said, trembling, then when you become complete, will I disappear? The doll said nothing, only blinked softly in the lamplight. Nights passed, and strange things began to happen. The maids noticed something odd. There were always two shadows in Luna's room, though the door was locked and no one else ever entered. Now, the doll seemed larger, more human. It spoke clearly, walked freely, and sat before the mirror, trying on Luna's jewelry. These suit me better, don't they? It would say. Luna smiled faintly, but unease grew in her heart. One day, she saw the doll sitting at the dining table, and half of a fruit before it had disappeared. Do you eat too? She asked, astonished. The doll whispered, I am becoming everything you feel. When you're hungry, I'm hungry. When you're sad, I stop breathing. As soon as it said this, the whole room dimmed. The next morning, everything in the palace seemed normal, except the air in Luna's room felt different. The windows were sealed shut. The scent of wax and flowers filled the air. Luna sat by the table, smiling, but her smile was cold, still. When a maid quietly opened the door, she gasped. In one corner stood a small crystal cage. She stepped closer, and her heart nearly stopped. "Madam, this looks like you." Luna turned slowly and said gently, "Don't touch it. That's my weakness. My silence. My tears. All locked away in there." The maid left, frightened. From inside the cage came a weak voice, "Free me. This world belongs to me too." Luna trembled for a moment, but then smiled. "If I free you, I'll become that weak girl again. I'm the queen now." From inside, there came a soft tapping sound, like someone knocking on glass. Luna dimmed the lamp and covered the cage with a cloth. Since that night, faint whispers could be heard from that room every night. One day, Luna sat pretending to read a book, but her gaze kept drifting toward the crystal cage, where her true self had been imprisoned for years. Something was different that day. The girl inside the cage had a new light in her eyes. She was no longer silent. She touched the glass walls, and fine cracks began to appear. The Luna outside, who was in truth the doll that had trapped the real Luna, suddenly panicked. The lamp's flame flickered, and from the cage burst a brilliant light. "No! No!" the doll screamed, but it was too late. The glass shattered, and from its shards emerged the real Luna, pale and fragile, but with powerful eyes. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then the doll stepped forward, ashamed. "Forgive me," she said softly. "I stole your life. I was born from your pain, yet I threw you into more suffering." Luna smiled faintly. "No, you came to show me my reflection. I had lost myself." The doll's tears fell to the floor, and to her astonishment, they melted the broken glass into a shining pool. "We will never be apart again," Luna said. "You're not my shadow, you're my sister." The warmth of their love filled the room, and the doll transformed back into her gentle form. From that day onward, there were two Lunas in the palace, one quiet, one smiling, but both sharing one heart and one soul. Every morning, Princess Luna went to the Lake of Joy with the doll, telling stories and singing to the fireflies, "Let the light scatter through the darkness of hearts." Sometimes, she painted the butterflies in colors. Then one day, golden dust filled the air. A snow-white dove descended from the sky, its wings shimmering, carrying a tiny letter in its beak. Luna opened it. Inside was written, "Greater than O Princess of Wax, the northern land has fallen into darkness. Our sun's flames have gone out. Only you can awaken it with your light." Luna looked at the doll. "We must go, right?" The doll smiled. "Of course. Light must never be caged." And together, they set out along the moonlit road. Birds flew with them. Their light left glowing trails in the sky. Every village they passed, lamps lit on their own, children laughed, and flowers bloomed. At last, they reached the frozen northern kingdom. Everything was buried under ice. Trees were frozen. Water had turned to stone. Luna's heart ached. Tears welled in her eyes, and one drop fell to the ground. The moment it touched the earth, light burst forth. From beneath the ice came the breath of flowers. The sky turned blue again. The doll whispered, "This is the magic of your heart, Luna. Wherever you smile, life